FDM, which is fused deposition modeling, use thermoplastics. In brief, thermoplastic, they become pliable at an elevated temperature and solidify upon cooling. Long-chain polymers, tensile strength, yield strength, they're non-Newtonian fluids. We don't need to worry about that right now. So FDM printers use filament. It's, the thermoplastic is fed into the printer. Key to know is that there are so many different kinds of filaments now that serve so many different niches. They all have materials properties that are suited to different applications. The most commonly used are going to be PLA and ABS, polylactic acid, and acrylonitrile butadiene styrene, I think. Yes, that's on the page. All right, rock and roll. I remember stuff. And they each have different use cases. PLA you're going to want to use for static loading, and ABS you're going to want to use for dynamic loading. That's basically what you need to remember. And here's just an example between the two. So something that I've saved until now, because it is true for all of these additive manufacturing technologies, is that just like a PCB needs to have a PCB designer actually do the work in an Altium or whatever before the PCB can be fabricated, obviously you need to have a CAD engineer that is doing the work before any part can be printed. A lot of the times that job, especially in a smaller company, is kind of rolled into a mechanical engineer's role. I know if there are any mechanical engineering students on the line, SolidWorks, am I right? Cool. Yeah, we're used to having to do the CAD work. But sometimes there are just dedicated CAD engineers at especially larger companies. Sometimes there are roles that are exclusively additive manufacturing engineers, like I mentioned earlier. All they do is they take the CAD file, they feed it into the machine, they post-process the print, they shove it off to metrology or tolerance or whatever, quality control. Regardless, though, you're probably going to want to know how to do some CAD work if you're working in additive manufacturing. At the very least, you're going to need to know how to work your way around at least the end stage. Maybe you just import a file and you export to STL, and then a slicing tool. For a hobbyist, I highly recommend Cura. When you get into the industrial level machines, they often come with a proprietary slicing tool that you'll use at work. Very quickly, FDM printer anatomy. This was built more for people who had never even seen a 3D printer before. The FDM printer has a 3-axis coordinates system, like most things in 3D space, I guess. Up, down, left, right, up, and down. And it prints just similar to the Yoda head we saw at the beginning.